Okay. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mokakadash. Honors to those that I've learned from. Of course, those men that's constantly pushing out this word on the internet. Double honors to the teachers, the apostles of all Israel. And shalom to those of Yasharallah seeking the truth, seeking righteousness, and hoping for edification. Okay, real quick. Just going to jump into this real quick. I'm going to call this one Carpenters Lay Bricks. You take a look at this picture right here. I saw this picture for the first time, of course, on the Elder Malcolm's channel. And once I saw this picture, man, I knew what it was, man. You just take a look at it. You can see each of a substantial amount of world leaders here, and everyone here is just fed up with the West. These men have had enough, and they're ready to move on. You take a look at them from left to right, our left to their right. You see they have their flags behind them. Each flag is meticulously placed. You can see how they're they're pushing that all men is equal doctrine right here. It looks like all nations are equal. We know they're not. There's three divisions to the nations. There's the son of men, which are the heathens, the son of the wicked, and then there are the sons of God, the princes of peace, Yasharallah, Israel. The chosen line, which is made better than all of the other. But here we got the heathen raging, lined up, and pretty much, man, it looks like they're fed up. Look at these guys. They're fed up with Jake, and they're fed up with Esau. And they're ready to take us both out. And they're going to use America to take us both out. We got in the center, under the arch, lined up perfectly. Look at that. Look at that. Lined up perfectly under the arch. Mohammed bin Salman, the current leader of Saudi Arabia. And these men, like they just came from the back room, made a sacrifice to their God, made a pact in blood, and they're looking like they're ready for world domination. So I want to start off with Zechariah 1:20. And the Lord showed me 4 carpenters. Then said I, what come these to do? And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man lift up his head. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it. Now, this has always been a fascinating verse to me, because, if you want to get out of here, you're ready for this thing to end. This system that we're under needs to go. And by the prophets being out there on the street, constantly pushing this word, you're learning the truth of what's going on in this planet, because everything here is like smoke and mirrors. Nothing, especially when you get on a international, global, or national stage, nothing's really as it seems. You think you're looking at a man, you're looking at a woman. You think you're looking at a woman, you're looking at a man. You think that person's for you, like that guy at New York. What's his name? The preacher guy with the slick back hair. He's always on every scene. Every time there's a civil rights upbringing, he's there. I'll remember his name by the time this thing's over. Reverend, whatever his name is. The guy with the slick back hair. He was on MSNBC with a channel. You have something go wrong with you, something terrible, police shoots your son dead in the street, or something happens, a hospital does something wrong against you just because of the color, you're going to call him up. And what he's going to do, him and Ben Crump are going to show up, and it's always the same people there. And they really get no results done. They just sit up there, tell them we need to give them forgiveness. And, it's the same crew, the same thing, the same results, just different stories. So, and we're learning what these words mean, like horns. He said, looks like there's two set of horns against another horn. These are the horns which have scattered Judah. So it's a certain amount of horns, which we know is the Roman kingdom revised, come back for the second time against these new horns. It's taken a while for us to get to this point to find these new horns. Okay. So let's take a look at who these new horns are. The new horns are these BRIC nations. And the BRIC nations, when did this thing start, is an acronym of 5 leading emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, and China and South Africa, with China really being, that's where the headquarters is, in China. China's the one that's really pushing this thing. China is really the most, has the best foundation, the biggest, strongest, well, next to Russia. Those two together, really solidify this BRICS nation. With Russia, you got to have Russia because that's the genealogy. They still have that Edomite, blood in them. They have the right genetics to rule, to be able to step into the rulership of the world, because only 2 nations ever going to rule the entire world, and that's either Jacob or Esau. So you got to have Russia there. For some reason, no one in Europe ever wants to mess with Russia. They've always alienated these guys and just treated them like, they're not one of them. Like they're not part of the Roman Empire. So they're not part of NATO, which NATO is the NATO versus the BRICS. Those are the 2 horns that we're talking about here. The 2 groups of horns. We have Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And this thing's been around since, let's see, the history. It was introduced in 2001 publication, Building Better Global Economic BRICS, by chairman of Goldman Sachs, Jim O'Neill. The term was coined by Rupa Purushothaman, who was a research assistant in the original report. So this thing's been pushing since 2001. Al Sharpton, that's the guy name, slick back hair. This thing's been pushing since 2001, and we finally culminated to this point where they have become a force, and they're lining it up. They're showing we're here. We formed. We know who our enemy knows who we are, and it's time to get down, Let's take a look at that again. He says, the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, showed me 4 carpenters. And let's take a look at this let's look at the BRICS again. Where's that BRICS? Let's take a look at the BRICS again. It's the BRICS. They really talk about South Africa, but if you look at it, the first BRICS summit, you don't even see it. You just see a brick. You just see Brazil, Russia, India, and China. They added South Africa to it. They have a role to it. It's really those 4 nations that's pushing this thing. And here we go. And the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua showed me 4 carpenters. Then said I, what come these to do? What come these to do? Let's take a look at the top world economies in the world. We got United States still at top, The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? Look who's number one, the wicked. $20.89 trillion. Coming at a distant 60, number two, 6 million behind is China at $14.72 trillion. And where are the other? So we got China, we got India at 2.6, we got Brazil at 1.4, and we got Russia at 1.48. So really, these guys, they're coming together. Who's the other people? We got United States at 1. We got Germany, part of NATO. That's NATO at 4. United Kingdom, NATO at 5. France, NATO. Italy, NATO. Canada, NATO. South Korea, NATO's bitch. Australia, NATO. Spain, NATO. Indonesia, just popping up out of nowhere. They're down to 15. So Spain, NATO. So you see, it's really just NATO versus the BRICS. So what come these to do? These come to remove you. That's what they come to do. They've come to challenge you economically, challenge you militarily, and they come to do business. Everyone's sick and tired of the West. The West you cannot do business with the West. We're going to get back into that in a second. So what come these to do? So they've come to remove you from the world power seat. That's what they've come to do. And he spake, saying, these are the horns. And we know horns are nations, which have scattered Judah. When did Judah get scattered? This has been going on for a while. But the scatter, when we got scattered out of our homeland, was 70 A.D. And who scattered us? The Romans. And we're now in the reincarnation, the regeneration of the Roman Empire. And they're back. And they scattered Judah, which we know Judah is a kingdom at that point. Benjamin, Judah, and Levi. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And they were scattered into northern Africa and surrounding areas. And we're scattered right into Europe. We're taking this whatever was left of us and was taken as slaves back to Rome to fight in the Colosseums and to be slaves and just be spoiled. We're spoiled as a nation. So it said, these are the horns which have scattered Judah. That would be the Roman Empire, so that no man did lift up his head. And we're talking about no Israelite man did lift up his head. And if you want to look at it, these nations is getting to the point where America is sending all their secretary of different state from the State Department into South Korea to make sure that they pass a bill to let the alphabet people marry. They've succeeded in Singapore, Taiwan. They send in they have the nerve to send them into Africa, and everyone's had enough of these guys, man. They don't want to do business. They're caught up in too much SJ social justice, bedroom activity. They're worried about what's going on in the bedroom, then worried about building, getting people out of poverty. They have a homelessness problem here, but they're worried about bedroom activities. These people are freaks. Okay. So these are the horns that have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head, Israelite man. But these are come to fray them. These. So now they've made their appearance on the world stage back in 2000, and they've been trucking, they've been toiling, they've been striving, they've been making backroom deals. He said, in the Bible says, they that have eaten thy bread have lifted up their head against thee. And look, the Saudi Arabia, if you know how they came up, how Saudi came up through America, through the Bretton Woods deal back in the 70s, how America became the petrodollar. How did China come up? They came up through America, through Bill Clinton, just selling America dry, bringing all of the factories to China. And now China is just on cruise control. They're building everything. Foxconn alone, which is has over 200,000 employees, is building Apple products. So All of these came up by sucking the blood right out of America. America put them on. So, but these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to fray them. So we got two heads button, two different systems, two different kingdoms bucking up to cast out the horns of the Gentiles. So someone's coming to fray them to cast out the horns, which is pretty much the kingdoms of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it. We know that was the Roman Empire. So they come to cast out the Roman Empire. So this is just going to be the beginning. Who's going to put the final nail in the nail in the coffin is going to be Yahushua when he returns. He's going to completely put down these kingdoms. So this is just what you see. This is how you've seen it played out on the earthly realm, as far as, just the complete annihilation of the Babylonian system being just removed. Okay. So we want to say the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. It was given into you, Edomites. They are the wicked. The Bible calls them the wicked. We're going to go on Bible definitions, okay? Who we have now? We have what was it? Cambridge changing the definition of a woman. So in 2021, a woman, pretty much we went by the Bible definition. Now in 2022, these guys have changed the definition. How are we going to get anywhere if we halfway down on this journey and this nigga going to change the definition to something so important like a woman? Like, I'm like, okay, let's just say I'm a king. I'm going to another king, and I'm just like, I want my son to marry a woman from your country, a woman of your stock. And this nigga bring out the linebacker for the Patriots and shit. You know what I'm saying? We all know what a woman is. You can't change this thing in the middle of the game, man. We're going by what the Bible say, okay? I don't care what Cambridge is talking about. But anyway, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai gave you the earth. He put the power of the earth, the economy of the earth. You're the sword. You're his sword. You've been a golden cup in his hand. You're supposed to be number one, okay? You aren't supposed to be number two. Anyhow, that number one next to the United States changes to a two is obviously that, you're no longer, the earth is no longer in your hands. So, it's going to get snatched. So if you take a look at what America's doing, they did this back in the 90s to Japan after World War II. They sent all of the factories over there to turn the Japanese people to slaves of, the working class of the earth. They built everything. And then all of a sudden, everyone like, Japan's coming up. Japan's going to do this. Japan is going to be the next world leader, economic leader. And they just wiped them clean. The whole time China was watching what you were doing. You see, Japan's still number 3 on this list, right? China was watching what you're doing. They're not going to allow you to do to them what you did to Japan in the 90s, late 80s. And they formed this BRICS, and they're going to use this BRICS to come to destroy you because you cannot do business with the West. Let's just take a look at this. Let's take a look at this right here. Andrew Tate faces being locked in cell 23 hours a day because some people apparently are claiming what do they always do to bring a man down? Kahala Yahal Bashim Yashai 144. What they do to bring a man down is usually send one of their CIA, what Alex Jones call them, sex operatives. And then all of a sudden, you're up on rape charges, you're up on murder, all type of weird stuff is going on. They did the same thing to Julian Assange. They're doing it to Andrew Tate. They'll do it to you. They'll do it to whoever. If you don't go along with their way, they're going to slander you. This is against the Bible. You cannot slander people in this way. You cannot continue to do this. The earth is given to your hands. There's got to be better tactics to use to keep your power than to continuously slander people. You know, but if they don't slander, they're going to kill him. You know, that's against the Bible. You can't just kill a man because he doesn't agree with you, you know. But these people are the wicked. You cannot do business with the West. Look at Putin. Putin has a military. He has nuclear weapons. He has submarines. And they seized his chateau. They seized his ships. They seized Gazprom from Germany. These people will just take your stuff. And this guy has nuclear weapons. So what can you do against the system? It's obvious that you can no longer do business with the West. They do not follow due process of law. They do not follow their own rules. And it's no longer credible, or, you know, you're not going to gain any wealth in the system. You're just going to become oppressed. Okay? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Yeah, this picture says it all. The end has come for this whole Babylonian system. We're going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kadash. Honor to those that I've learned from. Double honor to their teachers, the apostles of all Israel. Shalom to those of Yasharallah seeking truth, seeking righteousness, and hoping for edification. Shalom.